What's up, you filthy fight fans? We're back at it again. It's another fight talk. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend and hopefully everything went down correctly for you guys and you guys were able to watch the fight. If not, I'm always here to give you guys the info and let you know how it went down. Now, UFC 260 is in the books, guys, and the card was a pretty decent card, I have to say. Early prelims was a lot of decisions, fights were decent, but as we got into the main card, Mr. Jamie Malarkey and Karma Worthy made sure that we weren't going to be playing out like how the early prelims were. And Jamie Malarkey came back and looked clean as hell with his hands, putting Karma Worthy out very quickly. Props out to Jamie Malarkey. He is looking like a phenom right now. So can't wait to see what's up next for him. But that is pretty much all I have to say about that fight because it only went for 48 seconds. Now, as we move into the women's flyweight matchup, it was a really decent matchup, really back and forth fight between Julian Robertson versus Miranda Maverick. Now, as we all know, Maverick is a new addition to the flyweight division, and she's just coming in, still basically getting her legs in the UFC and working around it. But we are coming to find out that she is a phenom in this division. Has really good hands, has a really good ground game. Is pretty much an all-round fighter. Now, this matchup, I would have thought that Julian Robertson would have way more control with the ground game because she is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu player and a phenomenal wrestler. But seeing in the fight, anywhere she went in the fight, basically Maverick had her number. She was able to either get her onto the ground and reverse the transitions and get back on top of her. And when we had them in the stand-up, Julian couldn't really deal with the power and the speed that Maverick was throwing at her. Now, I always tend to kind of have a hindrance about talking about this whole flyweight division because we all know who sits at the top of the flyweight division, and that's going to be Valentina Shlemenko. Now, with Maverick, I hope they start easing her into a couple more fights. I mean, that was her getting into the top 10. Hopefully they keep her at the bottom of the top 10 and just let her work her way through and see how she handles it. Maybe in about a year, maybe in 2 years, we'll see her in a title fight and we'll see how that goes for her. But I do think she still has a little bit of growth that she needs to do because there are a few holes in her game. But shout out to Miranda Maverick. She's looking like a beast coming into this division right now. Now, as we move into the next fight, it has to be the Sugar Show, talking about Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. Now, guys, this fight kind of played out exactly the same way I thought it would. Thomas Almeida had a really big problem with Sugar's reach advantage and also his height advantage. He wasn't able to basically get into the range that he needed to be able to throw any shots. He did get some decent shots off of him and had some decent leg kicks off of him, but just wasn't there to be able to really put power into his shots against Sugar. Sugar was able to basically sit on the outside, pick Almeida apart until he was able to put him on the floor and KO him and make sure that he was not coming back to consciousness at the end of that fight. Now, the only problem I have with this fight is, of course, Sugar seems to still have huge confidence, which I do like about him, about that. But I feel like his arrogance shows a little bit too much as he doesn't know when to really push the pace to close out the fight. He tried to do a walk-off KO, which everybody loves to get those walk-off KOs, but it seemed that it came to bite him in the ass where he could have closed out the fight and could have finished Almeida in the first round. He kind of did the walk-off thing, and then Almeida was able to basically work his way through the first round. Now, with that being said, guys, props out to Sugar Show. Can't wait to see what he does in his next upcoming fights. But I do see a couple of people in the bantamweight division that's going to give him a few problems. Of course, we got to talk about Aljo, who's the champion right now. I think he can give him a problem with his jiu-jitsu. Also, I think Peter Yan's power is going to be a huge problem for Sugar Show. We'll have to see. But also there's Cody Sandman Sanhagen, who's sitting in the wings. And I know that he could be a really good matchup for Sugar Show, but I also think it would be a huge problem. Cody's a lot faster, is always ready to basically go out on his shield. And then also we got TJ Dillashaw, who's going to be coming back. to be in the bantamweight division again. So we'll see how that goes up and see how he starts to mix in with the top of that division. Of course, as we went into the next fight, we're talking about the co-main event, which is going to be Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. Now, the fight kind of played out the way I thought it would. I did like that Woodley came out with a fast start. He was pushing the pace and moving in on Vicente Luque, trying to throw those hands and trying to use his takedowns to get Vicente Luque. But we come out finding that Vicente Luque is a very durable all-around fighter who's able to handle all the problems that you throw at him. And he was able to push the pace back onto Woodley and basically throw in a huge shot, getting Woodley to the floor and being able to lock in that Darce choke. Now, where do we go from here? I'm really hoping the UFC doesn't end up cutting Woodley because he did really push the pace to bring a fight to Vicente Luque. I think he's ready to really get in there and dial in and try to get back to where he was before. But it does seem like he doesn't have completely his mental focus on the fight, and the only reason of that is probably because of how many losses is going on for him, all the stuff that's going on in the backgrounds of the scenes of the UFC. We'll hope to see that he'll still be fighting. If not, I have to say that Woodley has been a really decent fighter for most of the years. He hit that hiccup, and we'll see if he'll be able to get over that mental break. Now for Vicente Luque, can't wait to see what they do with him. I think he's going to be starting to fight in the top of the echelon. We're talking Kessa and up. Wouldn't mind seeing him match up with Kessa, maybe Leon Edwards, or even Bilal, and see how that goes. But props out to Vicente Luque. That was a really decent fight, really nasty fight. Now, we got to get into this main event fight. And of course, I'm talking about the Stipe Miocic versus Francis Naganno. Now, a lot of the questions that I told you guys about in the last fight talk got answered. Francis Naganno is looking like a straight beast. Now, I will get to Francis a little bit more, but before that, let's at least talk about Stipe because, I mean, he is the greatest heavyweight champion of the UFC ever. Sucks to see that he ended up losing his belt to Francis Naganno, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. You know, there's always a winner and a loser. Now, Stipe was trying to push the pace. I think he was doing good kind of in the first round, but I did see a little huge jump for Francis Naganno. He improved in his wrestling. He improved in his patience. He basically improved in all of his fighter IQ in the last 3 years. With that being shown just in this fight alone. He was able to push the pace on Stipe. He was able to stuff Stipe's takedowns, was even able to reverse the takedown and get to Stipe's back and throw some huge bombs, which was landing on Stipe and was not able to block out the shots in the first round. Moving into the second round, he was able to just keep on that same pace and throw a huge heavy shot, knocking Stipe basically on his ass, and Stipe getting back up and trying to chase after that shot and throw and just literally getting caught with that left hook and getting put out. Now, props out to Francis Naganno. It looks like he's going to be a beast in the heavyweight division right now. He's showing his composure. His fight IQ has jumped. He's able to stay patient. He's not just rushing in, throwing shots at the whim whenever and coming off of any angle that he could. He was actually calculated and precise. Props going out to him. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next for him. We don't have any UFC this weekend, but I still got some MMA for you guys this week, which is going to be Bellator 255, the featherweight Grand Prix semifinals, which is going to be between Pitbull and Sanchez. And this is a rematch. Now, guys, Emmanuel Sanchez is a beast coming out of Milwaukee, training with Anthony Pettis and training with Lovato Jr. And he's just looking phenomenal, just an all-around fighter. But he's going up against one of Bellator's GOATs, which has to be Pitbull. And Pitbull is now the reigning 145 champion and also the reigning 155 champion. Now, how do I see this matchup playing out? It's going to be a tough, gritty fight where Emmanuel's going to have to push the pace on Pitbull, trying to get him on that back foot and trying to get him laid out on that power. But Pitbull has some nasty power. He's very fast, and his wrestling has been looking phenomenal because he's been training with, of course, Triple C. And when I'm talking about Triple C, of course, I'm talking about Henry Cejudo. He has been working diligently with Henry Cejudo working on his wrestling. So in this matchup, it's a toss-up. You never know what can be going down on this. But Also, be on the lookout for Matt Mitrione. He's on this fight. And of course, if you guys are old school MMA fans, Roger Huerta is also on this fight. The El Matador, one of the phenomenal lightweights that's been in the division. He's fought in the UFC, ONE FC, and all over the world. He is a phenomenal Muay Thai striker, but also has a very good ground game. Can't wait to see how this matchup goes down. Be sure you guys turn into the next Fight Talk where I'll be breaking down how this fight went down. Now, with all that being said, guys, I got to get into this fight news. And of course, the fight news I have to start off with is what the hell is going on with the heavyweight title with the UFC. Of course, Francis Naganno wins the heavyweight title. And the first thing we think about is, who's he fighting next? It should be Jon Jones. I thought that's what we were setting up for the next fight. But it seems that Dana wants to throw a little salt on that fight already. Talking about how maybe Jon Jones should start thinking about moving down to 185 and basically just downplaying Jon Jones. Now, guys, I doubt Jon Jones has put on all this weight, came out and really wanting to fight in heavyweight to hear that type of bullshit and say that they want him to move down to 185. We all know that's a complete joke and complete bullshit. What it is, of course, the one thing Jon Jones wants. He wants to get paid for it, which I understand. He's taken a really steep challenge with Francis Naganno, a new champion, a devoted champion, a focused champion, new fight camp, has a new style of fighting for himself, and is a very big heavyweight that has a huge amount of power. Now, for Jon Jones to vacate the light heavyweight title and move up and ready to fight for heavyweight, I think he deserves to get paid. So we'll have to see how that works out and how they hash all that out. Now, the other stuff going on, of course, it would have to be the Jake Paul and Ben Askren stuff that's going down. And if you guys haven't seen the face-off between Jake Paul and Ben Askren, I think you guys should see it. It seems that I don't think Jake Paul is really ready to fight Ben Askren. I think he's starting to understand that he stepped into a matchup that he shouldn't have chosen to step into when he's taking on a true fighter. And when you look at the situation that with Jake Paul, who has he really fought? He hasn't really fought any real fighters. He fought an ex-basketball player. He fought basically another YouTuber. And that's pretty much it. He hasn't really boxed anybody that's a true fighter, because no real boxer will even want to take the chance of boxing with him because they pretty much know that they can hand it to him. Now, how do I see this playing out? I kind of feel like Ben Askren's actually going to end up knocking out Jake Paul, but we're going to have to watch to see how it goes down. And trust me, as much as I think this fight's a bullshit fight, I will be watching that one, so be paying attention for that to come up on the next Fight Talk. Now, the only other information I have for you guys is a huge signing for the UFC. Paddy Pimblett, who is Paddy the Batty Pimblett from Cage Warriors, has signed with the UFC. Now, this is a 2-division champion who has some really fast hands, really great ground game. Can't wait to see how he mixes it up. Can't wait to see what division they're going to be putting him in the UFC. I think he can fight anywhere from featherweight to lightweight. I think he's also taken a couple of bantamweight fights. So let's see how this goes out for him. I can't wait to see him in the mix. And with that, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. If this is your first time here, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, do me a huge favor. Click the like button so we can beat the YouTube algorithm and we can start getting the Filthy Report out there so everybody can start talking about Fight Talk. Also, do me another huge favor. Click the bell so you guys know when the next episode is dropping, so you guys can also check out the other episodes that I have of Let's Get Geek, where I'm talking about everything from anime, manga, comic books, and you name it. If it's about geek, I'm talking about it. Now, guys, like always, I have to tell you guys this. If nobody loves you, I love you. I am Jason Filthy Jones, bringing you the dirtiest information with the cleanest style. Peace.